Hi all, I'm Mr. Mendoza, a second grade teacher at Ware Du Bois Charter Academy with Agape Schools. Here is another book about Thomas Alva Edison. This is actually something I got out of reading A to Z. I hope that you enjoy it. This tells you a little bit more about his childhood and some different facts that we have not heard of before. Thomas Edison. Some words that you'll need to know: experiments, filament, inventors, operator, patent, research. By Joan C. Wachter. What traits describe Thomas Edison and how do they affect his actions? Here's a table of contents for you if you want to go look at some of the sections. There they are. A curious boy. Thomas Edison loved to question things. He loved to learn how things worked. He also loved to make things work better. Many people think of him as one of the greatest inventors of all time. Young Al. Thomas Alva Edison was born on February 11, 1847. Al, as he was called, did not do well in school. He wanted to question and explore. At that time, school was mostly about remembering facts. Al's mom took him out of school and taught him at home. She taught him to love to read. Al sold food and newspapers on trains when he was 12 years old. He used the money he learned to buy books and materials for experiments. He set up a lab in a train car. Also around this time, Al lost most of his hearing. When he was 15, Al saved the boy's life. The boy was about to be run over by a boxcar when Al grabbed him. The child's father offered to teach Al how to be a telegraph operator. As Al grew older, he traveled around as a telegraph operator. He continued to be interested in science. I guess you can say that was one of his first major jobs. Edison, the inventor. Edison wanted to invent things full time. He invented ways to make the telegraph better. He earned his first patent for an electric vote counter in 1869. The invention did not do well. Edison continued to invent. He said he would not give up, no matter what happened. That's the best thing to do, never giving up. Do you know, the telegraph let people communicate before the invention of the telephone. It used a code of dots and dashes, or short and long beeps, to form letters. A new lab. Edison began building and selling some of his inventions. In 1876, he built a lab in Menlo Park, New Jersey. It was the first research lab in the world built to make money. Many people called it the invention factory. Edison and his workers were there many hours each day. Notice how it said Edison and his workers. So I bet a lot of his workers were the ones that invented, and he just took the credit. Maybe. Edison put his ideas in notebooks. He gave the notebooks to his workers, who then made the inventions. Edison filled 3,500 notebooks with ideas. Not all of those ideas worked. Edison continued to work. He said he needed to find out all the ways something didn't work to find out the way it did. And who knows? He may have been the brains behind it all. And maybe his workers were the ones who stole his ideas. You never know with inventions and inventors. It's just a weird world. Important inventions. Telephone was invented in 1876, but it didn't work well. Thomas Alva Edison did not invent the first telephone. It was invented in 1876. Didn't work well. People had to yell into the phone to be heard. In 1877, Edison and his team invented a way to make the telephone work better. 1 year later, in 1877, he said, "We need to make it better." I bet he did. A telephone from 1877 with Edison's improvements. This was the model that Edison created. Thomas Edison with Madeline, Mina, Theodore, and Charles. I guess that's Thomas and his kids and his wife, Edison's family. And yes, because that tells you who it is, Edison's family. Edison married Mary Stilwell in 1871. They had 3 children, Marion, Thomas Jr., and William. Mary died in 1884. Edison married his second wife, Mina Miller, in 1886. They had three children, Madeline, Charles, and Theodore. So he was married twice. He doesn't look very happy in this picture. I wonder what is frustrating him right there. Edison also invented a machine that could record words and then play them back. The first thing Edison recorded was, "Mary had a little lamb." Some people didn't believe the machine worked. They thought someone was talking in another room. The phonograph made Edison famous. Now, this was one of his first famous inventions, the phonograph, basically a recorder. Phonograph equals recorder. Talk into it, press a button, and you record your voice. A special project. For years, people had tried to make a safe light bulb that most people could buy. Many inventors had tried and failed. How many years? Many years people tried to invent a light bulb. First, Edison and his team had to find the right filament, part of a light bulb that glows, the inside part of a light bulb that glows, the interior of the light bulb. They tried thousands of materials. They finally found one that worked. People were amazed by Edison's electric lights. One of Edison's first electric light bulbs. That's a weird looking bulb. Edison then had to make a system that could light a building and even a city. In 1881, Edison moved to New York City. He helped start the first electric power plant. In time, many places began to use electric lights. The War of the Currents. War. Nikola Tesla. There's another one. In the 1880s and 1890s, Edison competed with another electric company. Edison's method of delivering electricity was called direct current, or DC. You'll see this on a lot of gadgets that we use now. The other company said the method called alternating current, AC, was better. It was invented by Nikola Tesla. AC would later win the competition. AC, DC. Hey, that's also the name of a group, but we won't go there. This is pretty interesting how a man, when he was a child, his teachers basically told his mom, "We don't want your kid in school." That's basically what they told his mom, which is pretty sad. In this book, it doesn't say that, but in another book, it did, where teachers basically said, "No, he's not learning. You teach him. See if that works." Imagine if that happened to you, what would you do? Well, his mom was very patient with him, obviously, if she made him who he truly is. I know that she took part in that by helping him in his creative imagination. Other exciting ideas. What else did he do? Oh, we know that we did the camera. What is this here? Edison's movie camera left in his machine that showed movies. Oh, I guess they're both a type of a movie machine. In 1887, Edison moved to a new lab in New Jersey. Around that time, he saw a machine that quickly played many images, one after another. The things in the images looked as if they were moving. Edison had his team work on two machines. One machine would record the images, and the other would show them. Edison and his team invented a movie camera. They also invented a machine to show the images. Edison tried to put sound with the images, but it did not work. I guess it just wasn't his time for sound yet. A remarkable man. I bet he was. Edison doing an experiment in 1910. He looks real serious in that picture. Edison continued to invent. Some of his other inventions included machines to mine materials, better batteries, and new uses for cement. During his life, Edison had 1,093 patents, which was a record at that time. He worked until he was more than 80 years old. Thomas Edison died on October 18, 1931. President Herbert Hoover asked people to turn out their lights for a short time. He asked them to think about the great changes Thomas Edison made in their lives. Here's a glossary of which you can pause and look at these words, go back to the book, and find them. Thank you for viewing this video. If you want more, please make sure that you subscribe so you can see the other videos that I have on this channel. Thank you very much. May you have a great time always with reading. Reading is the most important thing in life.